The smell of concrete dust was still under my fingernails when I walked through our front door that Thursday evening. Lindsay stood in the kitchen with her back to me, pouring white wine with that precise little twist she always did. Like even drinking had to look corporate approved. I kicked off my steel-toed boots and set my hard hat on the counter. Good day on the refinery site. We're running 2 weeks ahead of schedule. She didn't turn around. That's nice? I started scrubbing the job site grime from my hands. Speaking of schedules, you still want me to drive you to that energy conference tomorrow night? Lindsay's shoulders went rigid. She set the wine bottle down like it might explode. When she finally faced me, her expression was carefully blank. Actually, Bryce, I think it would be better if I went alone. I stopped mid-scrub. Alone? Since when? Since I realized what kind of event this really is. She took a sip of wine, buying time. Very formal, very polished. The way she said polished made something cold settle in my gut. And I can't be polished? That's not what I said. Then what are you saying, Lindsay? She crossed her arms, going into defensive mode. Look, these are energy executives, oil company VPs, board members. They're not used to your crowd. My crowd. I dried my hands slowly, studying her face. 7 years of marriage, and she was looking at me like I was something that might track mud on her reputation. My crowd, I repeated. You mean construction workers? I didn't say that. You didn't have to. I leaned against the counter. Lindsay, I manage multi-million-dollar projects. I coordinate with engineers, safety inspectors, city planning departments. I wear suits to client meetings just like you do. I know that, she said quickly. But this is different. These people judge everything. The way you talk, the calluses on your hands, the fact that you actually work with them. Work with my hands. I held them up, examining the evidence of 15 years building things that mattered. Yeah, I do. That's how I earned the money that pays for half this house. Bryce, please don't make this about money. Then what is it about? Lindsay set her glass down harder than necessary. It's about image, professional networking. These people recommend each other for executive positions. If I show up with someone who looks like he just rolled off a job site, I shower after work, Lindsay. You know that's not what I mean. I did know. That was the knife twist. I knew exactly what she meant, and it cut deeper than any industrial accident I'd ever had. You're embarrassed by me. I'm not embarrassed by you. I'm trying to manage a delicate professional situation. What situation? The situation where I'm competing for a VP of marketing position, and showing up with a construction worker husband sends the wrong message about my sophistication level. The kitchen went dead quiet except for the refrigerator's hum. I looked around at our home, the custom cabinetry I'd installed, the hardwood floors I'd helped refinish, the electrical work I'd personally inspected, all paid for with money from jobs Lindsay apparently thought were beneath her professional image. So that's it, I said, my voice flat. You don't want your corporate friends knowing you're married to a guy who builds things for a living. That's not fair, isn't it? I pushed off from the counter. Let me ask you something, Lindsay. When your colleagues ask about your husband, what do you tell them? She looked away. I tell them you're in project management. Project management, not construction project management. Does it matter? It matters because you're lying by omission. You're letting them think I sit in an office pushing papers instead of standing on job sites, making sure their refineries don't blow up. I'm not lying about anything. You're lying about who I am, which means you're lying about who you married. I grabbed my truck keys from the counter. I'm getting dinner. You want anything? Where are you going? Somewhere that serves people with dirt under their fingernails. I was halfway to the door when she called my name, but I didn't stop. I sat in my F-150 for 10 minutes, hands gripping the steering wheel, trying to process what had just happened. The woman I'd been married to for 7 years had just told me I wasn't good enough to be seen with her professional crowd. But here's what Lindsay didn't know. I wasn't just some guy with a hammer and a high school diploma. I had an engineering degree from UT. I carried a general contractor's license. I spoke the language of load calculations and environmental impact assessments. I just chose to work with my hands because I liked building things that lasted longer than quarterly earnings reports. The next evening arrived like a slow-motion car wreck. I spent the day on site coordinating with electrical subs and reviewing safety protocols with my crew. Work was the one place nobody questioned my worth, Out there, with blueprints spread across sawhorses and hard hats dotting the horizon, I was the guy who made decisions. I was respected. I was needed. Lindsay left for her conference without saying goodbye. I found a note on the granite countertop. Working late after the event. Don't wait up. L. Even her notes had gotten corporate. I was on the couch, half watching the Astros lose another game, when my phone buzzed. The caller ID showed Heather Walsh, CEO of Petrotech Energy, one of my biggest clients and definitely Lindsay's biggest target account. Bryce, how are you holding up? Evening, Ms. Walsh. Things are solid. What can I do for you? I'm calling with an invitation. We're hosting our annual energy conference tonight at the Marriott downtown. I just realized we never properly thanked you for that outstanding work on our refinery expansion. 2 weeks early, 15% under budget. That kind of performance deserves recognition. I felt something shift in my chest, something that tasted like opportunity. I appreciate that, ma'am. I'd love for you to join us, industry leaders, major contractors, suppliers, the whole energy sector ecosystem. You should be there representing the construction side. Plus, I want to introduce you to some people who could use your expertise. I thought about Lindsay somewhere in that same hotel, probably telling people her husband couldn't make it tonight. What time? It's happening now. Just mention my name at the door. And Bryce, dress sharp. These oil executives respect contractors who clean up well. 30 minutes later, I stood in front of my bedroom mirror, adjusting the navy suit Lindsay once said made me look distinguished. The same suit she'd now probably call trying too hard. I put on the silver cufflinks she'd bought me for our anniversary, back when she was proud to be married to a man who could build anything. Tonight felt different, though. Tonight felt like chess, not construction. And Lindsay had just given me the opening move. The Marriott ballroom sparkled like a jewelry store display. Crystal chandeliers, white linen, and the low murmur of people who were accustomed to making million-dollar decisions over cocktails. I spotted Lindsay immediately. She was at a table near the front, leaning toward a tall guy with perfect hair and a Rolex that caught the light every time he gestured. Her laugh was too bright, too practiced. The kind of laugh you use when you're performing instead of enjoying yourself. I walked to the hostess station, straightening my jacket. Bryce Cooper for Heather Walsh's table. The young woman checked her list and smiled. Of course, Mr. Cooper. Ms. Walsh mentioned you'd be joining us, right this way. As we weaved through the crowd, I caught sight of Lindsay's table again. She was hanging on every word the Rolex guy said, nodding like he was revealing the secrets of the universe. From this distance, she looked like exactly what she wanted to be, a sophisticated marketing executive networking with the energy elite. She had no idea her husband was about to walk into her carefully constructed professional fantasy. Heather Walsh stood as I approached her table, extending her hand with genuine warmth. Bryce, so glad you could make it. Everyone, this is Bryce Cooper, the project manager who delivered our refinery expansion ahead of schedule and under budget. I shook hands around the table. Nicole Henderson, who owned the largest electrical contracting firm in Houston. Amber Rodriguez, steel supplier for half the refineries in Texas. Stephanie Martinez, client relations director for 3 major energy companies. These weren't just random corporate types. They were people who knew my work, who'd seen me solve problems their engineers couldn't figure out. Bryce, Nicole said, settling back into her chair, I was just telling everyone about that foundation crisis you handled on the Martinez project. Pure engineering genius. Team effort, I said, taking the seat they'd saved for me. Good subs make all the difference. Speaking of which, how's that new apprenticeship program working out? Better than expected. We've got 12 kids learning the trade properly instead of picking up bad habits on fly-by-night crews. Across the ballroom, I felt eyes burning into the side of my head. Lindsay had noticed. She was staring, wine glass frozen halfway to her lips, watching her blue-collar husband chat comfortably with the exact crowd she thought he couldn't handle. The expression on her face was priceless. Pure panic, like she'd just realized she'd forgotten to wear pants to a board meeting. Stephanie leaned forward. Bryce, we've been discussing the proposed gas processing facility in Baytown. Word is the project needs an experienced construction manager, someone who understands environmental regulations and can coordinate with multiple agencies. Baytown's complicated, I said, keeping my voice casual while watching Lindsay try to process what she was seeing. Soil composition's tricky. You've got residential proximity issues, and the EPA's going to crawl all over that site with a microscope. Whoever takes it needs to know OSHA backwards and forwards." "Exactly," Heather Walsh smiled. "That's exactly the kind of insight we need. Bryce, would you be interested in consulting on the preliminary planning? The client specifically requested someone with your track record." I was about to respond when I noticed movement in my peripheral vision. Lindsay was walking toward our table, her face a mask of controlled composure. But I'd been married to her for 7 years. I could see the barely controlled panic in her eyes. This was going to be fun. "Excuse me," Lindsay said, stopping just behind Stephanie's chair. Her voice was steady, but there was an edge to it I recognized. "Bryce, could I speak with you for a moment?" The entire table went quiet. I looked up at my wife, standing there in her black cocktail dress, looking polished and professional and completely out of her depth. "Lindsay Cooper," I said to the table, my voice carrying just enough satisfaction to let her know this wasn't an accident. "My wife, Lindsay, meet Heather Walsh, CEO of Petrotech Energy." Heather stood and extended her hand. "Mrs. Cooper, what a pleasure. Your husband is absolutely invaluable. We couldn't have completed our last project without his expertise." Lindsay shook hands, but her eyes never left mine. I could practically see the wheels turning in her head, trying to figure out how the hell her embarrassing construction worker husband had ended up at the VIP table. "Yes," Lindsay managed. "He's very dedicated." "Dedicated?" Nicole laughed. "He's a perfectionist. Best project manager in the business. The crews would follow him into a hurricane." "That's rare in this industry," Amber added. "Usually it's either the suits respect you or the hard hats do. Never both. Bryce has both." I watched Lindsay's professional smile get more strained with each compliment. This was exactly what she'd been afraid of, being overshadowed by her blue-collar husband. Except it was happening in reverse. These people weren't looking down at me. They were looking up to me, and by extension, wondering why she seemed so uncomfortable about it. "Actually," Heather Walsh said, turning to Lindsay, "Mrs. Cooper, you should join us. We were just discussing the Baytown project. Are you in the energy sector as well?" "Marketing," Lindsay said, her voice tight. "I work in marketing." "Wonderful. Which company?" I watched my wife realize she was about to name drop her employer to a table full of people who could make or break her career. People who now knew she was married to the contractor they clearly respected. "Coastal Energy Solutions," she said. "Ah, Jim Patterson's company," Stephanie said. "Solid operation. You must be the new marketing director. Jim mentioned he'd hired someone impressive for the VP track." Lindsay nodded, but I could see her calculating, trying to figure out how to navigate this conversation without revealing that she'd spent the last 6 months hiding her construction worker husband from these exact people. The irony was delicious. She'd wanted to protect her professional image, and here I was, accidentally boosting it. "Well," I said, standing up from my chair, "I think my wife wanted to speak privately." We walked toward the floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking downtown Houston. The lights of the refinery district glowed in the distance, the same refineries where my crews worked through the night, keeping the energy flowing. "What the hell are you doing here?" Lindsay hissed the moment we were out of earshot. "What the hell are you doing here?" Lindsay hissed the moment we were out of earshot. I smiled, letting the satisfaction show. I was invited, by Heather Walsh herself. Apparently she values contractors who deliver results. This is exactly what I was trying to avoid. "What? Me being recognized as competent by your target clients?" I kept my voice calm, enjoying the way her jaw clenched. "Or are you upset because they think more highly of me than you expected?" Lindsay glanced back toward the table where Nicole, Amber, and Stephanie were deep in conversation with Heather Walsh. "You planned this?" "I planned nothing, but I'm sure as hell enjoying it." I leaned against the window frame, watching the city lights twinkle below. "Tell me, Lindsay, when you introduced yourself to these people tonight, did you mention you had a husband?" Her silence was answer enough. "Let me guess," I continued. "You told them you were here solo, independent career woman, unattached, ready to climb the corporate ladder without any blue-collar baggage weighing you down. That's exactly what you did." I turned to face her fully. "And now you're panicking because the people you want to impress are impressed by the wrong person." Lindsay's eyes darted around the ballroom, checking to see who might be watching us. Even in crisis, she was worried about appearances. "You don't understand the position you've put me in. Enlighten me." They think I'm married to some kind of construction celebrity. They're going to expect me to know things about your work, your projects. They're going to ask questions. I felt something dark and satisfied settle in my chest. Questions like what? Like how long you've been managing major projects, like what other facilities you've built, like whether you're available for their next big job. And you don't know the answers. How would I know? You never talk about work at home. That stopped me cold. I never talk about work. Lindsay, I've tried to share my projects with you for years. Last month I tried to tell you about the innovative foundation design we use for the Martinez refinery. You changed the subject to ask if I'd remembered to pick up your dry cleaning. That's different. How is that different? Because it doesn't matter for my career what kind of foundations you pour, but it matters for your career what kind of connections I have. I watched her face as the truth hit home. You didn't want to be associated with a construction worker, but you're perfectly happy to be associated with a construction executive when it benefits you. Lindsay's composure cracked slightly. That's not fair. No, what's not fair is spending 7 years married to someone who's ashamed of what you do for a living. I straightened my jacket, preparing to go back to the table where people actually valued my expertise. But here's the thing, Lindsay. Those people in there, they don't just respect me professionally, they like me, which means your little networking strategy just became a lot more complicated. What do you mean? I mean, Heather Walsh just offered me consulting work on the Baytown project. Stephanie Martinez wants me to bid on 3 upcoming facilities. Nicole Henderson is talking about partnering on the next big industrial contract. I paused, letting that sink in. Your husband just became the most connected contractor in the Houston energy sector. The color drained from Lindsay's face. Bryce, you can't what? Can't be successful? Can't earn respect from people you want to impress? Can't accidentally boost your professional profile by being exactly who I've always been? You can't use this to hurt my career. I stared at her for a long moment. Hurt your career? Lindsay, I just handed you the networking opportunity of a lifetime. Every person at that table now knows you're married to someone they want to work with. That makes you interesting by association. But I don't know anything about your work. That's your problem, not mine. I started walking back toward the table. You had 7 years to learn. You chose not to. Bryce, wait. I stopped but didn't turn around. What? What am I supposed to tell them? The truth, that you're married to a construction project manager who's good at his job. It's not complicated unless you make it complicated. But what if they ask about specific projects? Now I did turn around, and I let her see exactly how much I was enjoying this. Then you tell them you'll have your husband call them with the details. I walked back to the table, leaving Lindsay standing by the windows, looking like she'd just realized she was playing chess against someone who'd been planning this move for years. Which, in a way, I had been. Everything all right? Heather Walsh asked as I took my seat. Perfect, I said. My wife was just surprised to see me here. She didn't know I'd been invited. Well, we're certainly glad you could make it, Stephanie said. Bryce, about that Baytown project? Would you have time next week to walk the site with our environmental team? I'd be happy to. My schedule's pretty flexible for the right project. From the corner of my eye, I watched Lindsay make her way back to her original table. The guy with the Rolex was still talking, but now Lindsay kept glancing over at us, watching her blue-collar husband discuss technical specifications with some of the most powerful people in the Texas energy industry. The irony was perfect. She'd wanted to hide me because she thought I'd embarrass her. Instead, I'd become the most interesting thing about her. Nicole leaned in closer. Bryce, I hope you don't mind me saying this, but your wife seemed a little surprised by all this. She's not used to seeing me in this environment, I said. I usually keep work and home pretty separate. Smart man, Amber laughed. Though if I had a husband who could get me FaceTime with Heather Walsh, I might encourage him to mix business and pleasure a little more often. I smiled, taking a sip of my scotch. I'll keep that in mind. The rest of the evening unfolded like a masterclass in professional networking. Heather Walsh introduced me to 2 more potential clients. Stephanie Martinez exchanged business cards and mentioned upcoming projects. Nicole Henderson invited me to bid on a major industrial complex, and through it all, I could feel Lindsay watching from across the room, probably wondering how her embarrassing construction worker husband had become the center of attention at her precious corporate event. The drive home was silent as a tomb. Lindsay stared out the passenger window while I navigated the late-night Houston. Traffic. Both of us processing what had just happened in completely different ways. I was savoring it. She was probably planning damage control. We pulled into our driveway at midnight. Lindsay sat in the truck for a moment after I cut the engine, like she was gathering courage for what came next. "You planned that entire thing," she said finally. "I told you, I was invited, by your dream client no less. Don't play dumb, Bryce. You knew exactly what you were doing." I turned to face her in the dim light from our porch. "You mean I knew how to act professionally in a business environment?" "Yeah, I did. Shocking, right? You humiliated me. I existed. You humiliated yourself." Lindsay's voice rose. "You sat there enjoying every second of my discomfort." "Damn right I did." I let the satisfaction show in my voice. "You spent the last 6 months acting like I was some kind of liability to your career. Tonight you found out I'm actually an asset. How does that feel?" "It feels like you orchestrated the whole thing to make me look foolish." "I didn't have to make you look foolish, Lindsay. You managed that all by yourself when you couldn't answer basic questions about what your own husband does for a living." We got out of the truck and walked to the front door in hostile silence. The moment we stepped inside, Lindsay rounded on me. "You can't seriously think this was fair." "Fair?" I hung up my suit jacket carefully. "Let me tell you what's fair. Fair would have been my wife being proud of my work instead of ashamed of it. Fair would have been you learning enough about my projects to hold a conversation instead of changing the subject every time I brought them up." "I never changed the subject. Last week I tried to tell you about the innovative safety protocols we developed for high-pressure systems. You interrupted to ask if I'd seen your phone charger. That's not the same thing." "It's exactly the same thing. You've systematically ignored everything about my professional life because it didn't fit your corporate image, and tonight that ignorance bit you in the ass." Lindsay paced to the kitchen island, gripping the granite edge. "Those people are going to talk. They're going to wonder why I didn't know about your consulting work, your connections, your reputation in the industry. Let them wonder. You don't understand. Word gets around in corporate circles. If people think I'm out of touch with my own husband's career, it makes me look incompetent." I felt that dark satisfaction spread through my chest again. "So now my career matters?" "That's not what I said." "It's exactly what you said. When you thought I was just some guy with a hard hat, my work didn't matter. Now that you realize I'm connected to people you want to impress, suddenly it's important." Lindsay's facade cracked completely. "You're enjoying this. You're actually enjoying watching me. Panic." "You're damn right I am." I walked to the refrigerator and pulled out a beer. "For 6 months, you've treated me like hired help who might embarrass you at important functions. Tonight, you found out the truth, and it's killing you." "What truth?" "That the people you're trying to impress already respect me more than they'll ever respect you." The words hung in the air like smoke from an industrial fire. Lindsay's face went white. "Take that back." "I don't think I will." I took a slow sip of beer, letting her absorb the full impact. "Heather Walsh has never offered you consulting work. Stephanie Martinez has never invited you to bid on major projects. Nicole Henderson doesn't consider you the best in your field. But they said all of those things about me tonight. Because construction is different. It's all about who you know, not what you can do." I laughed, and it wasn't a pleasant sound. "You think I got those contracts because of networking? Lindsay, I earned every single project by delivering results, by solving problems other contractors couldn't handle, by being so good at what I do that clients specifically request me. But you're still just what? Just a construction worker?" She couldn't finish the sentence, but we both knew what she'd been about to say. "Here's what's really eating you up," I continued. "Tonight you realize that your blue-collar husband is more successful in his field than you are in yours, that my reputation opens doors yours can't, that I command more respect from energy executives than their own marketing directors do." Stop. "And the worst part? The absolute worst part is that you could have been benefiting from my connections this whole time, but you were too embarrassed to even acknowledge what I do for a living." Lindsay's hands were shaking now. "You're being cruel." "I'm being honest. For the first time in months, I'm being completely honest about how I see our situation." "And how do you see it?" I finished my beer and set the bottle down with deliberate precision. I see a woman who spent 6 months trying to hide her husband because she thought he wasn't good enough for her professional aspirations. And I see that same woman realizing tonight that she was wrong about everything. Bryce, I never said you weren't good enough. You didn't have to say it. You've been living it. The kitchen fell silent except for the hum of appliances and the distant sound of late-night traffic. Lindsay stood there looking like she'd been hit by a concrete truck, which was probably appropriate given the circumstances. What happens now? She asked quietly. Now you figure out whether you want to be married to who I actually am, or whether you want to keep chasing some fantasy version of a corporate power couple. What does that mean? I headed toward the hallway. It means I'm done pretending to be ashamed of work that other people respect. It means I'm done hiding my success to protect your insecurities. And it means if you can't handle being married to someone who's actually good at what he does, maybe you should find someone who isn't. I left her standing in the kitchen, probably calculating how much damage control she'd need to do with her colleagues. The next 3 weeks played out like a slow-motion demolition. Lindsay tried damage control with her colleagues, but the horse was already out of the barn. Word had spread through Houston's energy sector that Coastal Energy's marketing director was married to Bryce Cooper, the project manager everyone wanted for their next big job. Instead of hurting her career, my connections had accidentally boosted it. Heather Walsh recommended Lindsay for a consulting project. Stephanie Martinez invited her to strategy meetings. Nicole Henderson mentioned her company was looking for a marketing director who understood the construction side of energy projects. The irony was perfect. Everything Lindsay had worked for was falling into her lap because of the husband she'd been ashamed to acknowledge. But our marriage was dying by degrees. We moved through our house like polite strangers sharing space. Lindsay worked later, came home exhausted, and avoided conversations about anything deeper than grocery lists. I took on extra projects, spent more time on job sites, and found excuses to avoid being home when she was there. The respect I'd gained in her professional circle felt good. The Cold War in my own kitchen felt like shit. 3 weeks after the conference, I came home to find Lindsay sitting at the kitchen island with a manila folder in front of her. Her face was red-rimmed like she'd been crying, but her expression was resolved. "We need to talk," she said. I hung up my hard hat and safety vest, noting the way she watched the ritual like she was memorizing it. About what? About this. She gestured to the space between us. About what we've become. I walked to the refrigerator, grabbed a beer, and leaned against the counter. And what have we become? Strangers who happen to share a mortgage. That's poetic. Did you workshop that line at the office? Lindsay flinched. You're different, Bryce. Since the conference, you're harder. I'm clearer, there's a difference. You're cruel. I took a sip of beer, studying her face. I'm honest. You just don't like the truth when it doesn't flatter you. See, that's what I mean. You used to be kind. I used to be naive. I thought if I was patient enough, supportive enough, understanding enough, you'd eventually be proud of who you married instead of ashamed of it. Lindsay's voice cracked. I was never ashamed of you. You were ashamed of being associated with me professionally. Same thing? No, it's not. Then explain the difference. She was quiet for a long moment, staring down at the manila folder. When she finally looked up, her eyes were bright with unshed tears. The difference is that I love you, but I hated feeling like the less successful spouse. That stopped me cold. Less successful? You make more money than I do. You have more job security. People in my industry respect you more than they respect me. You're better at your job than I am at mine. The words tumbled out like she'd been holding them back for months. And I couldn't stand feeling inferior in my own marriage. I set down my beer, processing what she'd just admitted. So, you tried to make me feel inferior instead. I didn't mean to, but you did. Yes, I did. She wiped her eyes with the back of her hand, and I hate myself for it. The kitchen went quiet except for the tick of the wall clock and the distant hum of traffic. This was the first real conversation we'd had in months, and it felt like performing surgery without anesthesia. Why are you telling me this now? I asked. Lindsay touched the manila folder. Because Heather Walsh offered me the VP of marketing position. I felt something shift in my chest. Congratulations. I turned it down. Why? Because I realized that everything I thought I wanted, the title, the recognition, the respect, I only got because of you, because of your reputation, your connections, your success. She laughed bitterly. The promotion I've been chasing for 2 years was handed to me because I'm married to someone the industry values. And that bothers you. It should bother me, but it doesn't. She looked up at me with something that might have been relief. It actually made me proud. For the first time in months, I felt proud to be your wife. I studied her face, looking for the catch. What's in the folder, Lindsay? Divorce papers. The words hit like a sledgehammer to the chest, even though I'd been expecting them. I see. I had them drawn up last week, before Heather made the offer, before I realized how stupid I've been. And now I don't know what I want. She pushed the folder across the island toward me. But I know what I don't deserve. I looked down at the papers, but didn't touch them. Which is? A husband who has to choose between being successful and being kind to his wife. I never asked you to choose between those things. No, but I made you choose. I made you choose between supporting my insecurities and standing up for yourself. And when you finally stood up for yourself, she gestured helplessly. You became someone I don't recognize. I picked up the folder, feeling its weight. You think I've changed? I think we both have. The question is whether we can change back. Into what? The couple where I hide my success to protect your feelings? The couple where you're embarrassed to bring me to professional events? Into the couple where I'm proud of what you've accomplished and you don't. Use that accomplishment as a weapon against me. I opened the folder, scanning the legal language that would dissolve 7 years of marriage into property settlements and asset divisions. You think that's possible? I think it's worth trying, but only if you can forgive me for being small enough to resent your success instead of celebrating it. I closed the folder and set it aside. And only if you can accept that I'm not going back to being the guy who apologizes for being good at his job, Lindsay nodded. I don't want you to go back to that guy. I want to learn to be worthy of the guy you actually are. The kitchen fell silent again. Outside, a concrete truck rumbled past, probably heading to one of my job sites for an early morning pour. So, what happens to these? I asked, tapping the folder. That depends. Do you want to try being married to each other again? The real versions this time? I looked at my wife, really looked at her for the first time in months. She looked tired, humbled, maybe a little broken. But she also looked like she was finally seeing me clearly. Yeah, I said finally. I think I do. It wasn't a fairy tale ending. We still had work to do, trust to rebuild, conversations to have. But sitting there in our kitchen with divorce papers between us and the possibility of something better on the horizon, it felt like the beginning of something real, something built to last.